Konnichiwa, y'all. Welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. We're brothers Matt and Tim, and we're MrMaple.com. Today we're going to be talking about our top 5 Makawa Yatsubusa family members. These are all coming to you in 2025 here on Mr. Maple. Guys, there's some amazing, interesting plants. I would say Makawa Yatsubusa family members are some of the most hyped Japanese maples, especially of 2023 and 2024. Let's get into a few of the special ones you may see here in 2025.
Yeah, they definitely have that hype train. Let's get this thing rolling with number 5. Coming to number 5, we've got Acer palmatum ladybug. This is a small, compact form, as many of the Makawa family selections are, but this one just has some really awesome colors to it.
Yeah, this one goes through a ton of different color changes. It's red, it's orange, it's got some yellow going on in it. It's got a lot of diversity to it in the early spring. I recommend some early morning sun to pick up the reddish-orange colors. Really a showstopper. It typically overlays a blushing of yellow. So the yellow is the primary color with those red oranges coming to the top. Interesting plant. It was originally found as a seedling here of Makawa Yatsubusa at Mr. Maple. I believe this one actually originated at the Buckholtz farm from the giant, you've seen the video where we talk about the giant Makawa there at Buckholtz Nursery. This one actually came through as a seedling from that tree. We used to buy every single seedling we could from town back in the day, and he would gift us several that he thought were worthy of evaluation. This one actually came to us in a 2-gallon and had been evaluated for a little while by Talon, and Talon said this one may need some further look at. It's kind of interesting. I might be retiring soon. Maybe give this one a little further look. So Talon didn't introduce this one, but he'd certainly set it aside for evaluation, and then Tim and I kind of inherited that evaluation from him.
I know, it's really cool how some of these trees just sort of get passed down. We got a lot of trees from Talon before he ever even mentioned selling the place,
right,
of awesome trees that we could evaluate and see what they turned out to be. Ladybug's one of those. And y'all, awesome little compact form. Those Mikawa types, they're amazing. And that's what we're bringing you as our top 5 Mikawa types today.
I think these will be the top sellers. So these are ones that we'll put up some numbers. I think you guys will be finding it a little easier to get some of these this year as well.
Yeah, and these are the ones that we've got large sets of that will be hitting MrMaple.com this year.
They're still going to sell it right away. Everybody's going to say they only had 2 of them.
Yeah.
And somebody bought all of them. That never happens. But these do go quickly. Coming in here at number 4, one we've been working really hard to get back in stock, guys. This one's coming back for sure in 2025. It's a Talon Buckholtz classic. We've got Mayday.
Yeah, Mayday. I remember one of my very first trips to visit Talon Buckholtz. I saw this in a 3-gallon at his place, the original Mayday, and it had the name Joy of May on it. And I was like, that is next level. And so Matt and I, whenever we were able to have the Maple City meeting here in Asheville, I sat down with him at the table and I said, I really want that Joy of May. And, he was looking at Phil and he's like, okay, we need to get this thing in production.
Right.
And
that was like 2010, 2011.
Yeah, and that is what became Mayday. And, I mean, it has unusual colors. You get some apricots on it in the early spring that's different than the oranges and reds you get out of many of the other Makawa types.
Definitely one of the best yellow Makawa forms. I mean, this one's popular for being a true yellow later. I mean, you can get some pinks on it early spring. I think that's where people mix this one up with Japanese Princess. The two are very distinctive. I mean, you won't have the same leaf shape. You won't have the same texture and long-term size, so they're very easy to distinguish. But I think what confuses people is sometimes Mayday can look more pink, and sometimes Japanese Princess can look more yellow. But the truth of the matter is, if you grow these, they're completely different looking plants.
But late season, Mayday is clearly more yellow than any of the other.
And it doesn't have the ruffled.
Makawa types.
It doesn't have the ruffled, larger leaf that the Japanese Princess has. And it's a little faster growing. Still slow, but a little faster growing than Japanese Princess.
Now, when Talon was selling down some of his stock plants of Mayday, we actually purchased them at Mr. Maple and brought them to Mr. Maple before we ever knew that we were going to be purchasing Buckholtz Nursery.
I'm actually in the process of digging some of those up and sending them back to Buckholtz Nursery. So at some point this winter, I'm going to be shipping Mayday. You ever heard of selling sand to the beach? Well, I'm going to be shipping Maydays back to Buckholtz Nursery just to increase our production level on this one. But good looking sets coming in 2025. I think a lot of people are going to be pleasantly surprised, at the numbers on this one.
And I know that I cut sign wood to be grafted of over 1,000 pieces of Mayday this winter.
People wonder what the numbers look like. We keep increasing them. And that's the same of our number 3 here. So we'll move on to number 3, in production heavily at Mr. Maple and at Buckholtz Nursery. Guys, we got Snow Kitten, a.k.a. Yukiyama. This one's a great plant. This is a variegated form of Makawa. You've seen those big, beastly stock plants we have. They're paying off now. They're starting to deliver enough scion that we can get this into true levels of production. I actually use, the Yukiyama as what they're listed at Buckholz, but we call it Snow Kitten because that's the right name. We actually use those as an example of our production schedule. So we're able to graft 1,000 of something at a time, really increase those numbers so that more people are able to get this. And that does drive the price down some of these too as they get more and more popular. That can happen over time. But a great plant that's getting better production. I think over the next few years, you'll start to see this be even easier and easier to obtain.
I think that's the thing people don't realize about the Makawa types is that it takes a long time to build stock plants and build scions.
Well, we're only 1 year into owning Buckholz, but you got to figure out, it takes 2 years once you graft this for this plant to even be available. So it takes time.
Yeah, it definitely takes time. And Makawa Yatsubusas are known for having that tightly internoding habit, which makes it more difficult to graft. It means that it doesn't produce a lot of scionwood on each and every plant. Those Snow Kittens, they got tons of scionwood. Dallin knew what he was doing when he started growing those and putting stock plants back for those.
I literally use that exact stock set. I know everybody that watched this channel has seen pictures of that stock set before. I use that as an exact example of what I want to do with other Makawa types for production. So eventually, we're able to have some bigger sizes, and we're keeping enough of those that production isn't inhibited by, we get people, it's funny, like I get people even in our group sometimes, they'll be like, hey, could you not sell off that set? I know you're doing a few on eBay now. I'm sure you sold out of it. Guys, if we sell a 5 of something, it's not going to affect our production level. We're grafting 100,000 grafts a year at Buckholz right now. That's not even including any production that's outside of that from MrMaple.
And if we dropped 5 of a rare Makawa type on MrMaple.com, it would only frustrate more people than it would help.
Yeah, so we don't do that. I mean, our sets at MrMaple are 20 to 30 plus if we're ever dropping a type. It would be rare that we would ever drop a Makawa type in less than 30.
Yeah.
Because that would just be even a mess. So we try to get those numbers in the 50 plus range really before we start to do 10 at 10s with these.
So Snow Kitten, that number 3, it's a variegated Makawa type. It has a pink and white swirl in the leaf. Late summer, it's white. And the new growth can almost be completely white on Snow Kitten. But you're going to want to make sure that you prune your Snow Kitten to promote the best variegation. On this Aridano Nishiki style tree, if you're not pruning it, you get less and less variegation. And people are scared to prune a dwarf, but I heavily recommend to prune it to get the best variegation. The best variegated Snow Kittens are often in nurseries that prune it back heavy to really get good scion to have it in production. That's why you see such beautiful ones at the Buckholz farm, is because we're constantly cutting those trees back for more scions.
All right, guys, coming in here at number 2, we've got one of the most hype train trees of all time. I think it has jumped into one of the top spots for people's wish list, and it hasn't really become available a lot. We've offered it on eBay. We will be offering it this year on MrMaple on 10 at 10s, guys. I'm talking about Acer palmatum Makawa.
Yeah, Mikawa. This is a selection by Keith Johansson. He said that he had a Moonrise coming off the truck and a Makawa Yatsubusa coming off the truck, and they had bloom flowers on it. And he said he crossed them. The interesting thing is it a cross, or is it just what he was looking for through the seedlings? Did he find something that had Moonrise-esque colors on a Makawa Yatsubusa?
I guess it's semantics to debate, because at the end of the day, he got what he
was looking for.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the results are there. So it really doesn't matter whether that was the case. I question whether it perfectly hybridized the two, but I'll tell you, it sure looks like it to me. The colors are there. And so at the end of the day, he got the right result, right? Like, you got the right answer, even if you can't show your arithmetic. Awesome plant, guys. You might not know this, but Moonrise, named by Carl Munn, the unpatented name of that, the actual cultivar name is Munn 001. So Moonrise is actually Munn 001, named after Carl Munn, who named it. And so it's a little homage to Makawa, Carl Munn, namer of Moonrise, Makawa, kind of playing off that a little bit. I love the colors. This thing is dope. I absolutely adore it. I think this one can be in that category with Japanese Princess, Mayday, and Red Panda as far as some of those elite color patterns that you're looking for. I think this one's really up there as far as the way it's defined and different. You do get some of those interesting Moonrise-esque apricots, those Moonrise-esque yellows going on in this one.
Some malting across the leaf.
We're giving this one early morning sun, late day shade. And of course, this one's famous for having the Mikawa habit. So it's still going to have that tight shingle layering look to it, typically 3 to 4 feet. I would compare this one's growth rate as very similar to that of Mayday. So a little more elevated than Japanese Princess and Tattoo, but still a little slower than Makawa Yatsubusa.
Guys, coming down to number 1 for the top 5 Makawa types of 2025. Y'all, this one's got the hype train rolling, and the hype train doesn't end on it. We're talking about Acer Palmatum Red Panda.
Yeah, it's still going to be going strong. First time we ever offered this was in 2024. Guys, we hit production level so hard on this that it ended up in our top 75 sales maples of 2024. That might not sound like a lot to you, but we offered a lot of different types of Japanese maples in 20. I don't think most places offered 75 different varieties of Japanese maples. We offered several hundred varieties, probably upwards of 800 different cultivars of Japanese maples in 2024. So for Red Panda to get production numbers up enough to get into the top 75, we really worked to get this one out to you guys. There was a lot of interest. There's a lot of hype around this one, and for good reason. It's the best red Japanese maple of that Mikawa form that we're growing. Absolutely love it. Fun colors, and I think the name is a good name too. People like red pandas. They're fun. There's even a thing on Shane Gillis where he's on Joe Rogan. He goes, it's the coolest animal? He's red panda. I was like, you're right, Shane Gillis. I agree. You're not only funny, you're correct about the red panda.
Red Panda, if you're looking for red panda, they're only going to be available through MrMaple.com. We have that tree patented. And so if
we haven't authorized anybody else to sell
haven't authorized anyone else, and no one else has it yet to actually have it in production. So anything else out there might be fake. Be careful of that. But
it is so hyped that there are knockoffs. We've reached the Jordan level knockoffs. It's not a flattering thing, but it's like, hey, they knock off, like the cool stuff. And of course, Red Panda is so interesting. There's starting to be some knockoffs out there. Don't get fooled by knockoff. The only place you'll ever see this legitimate right now is MrMaple.com and the Maple Mafia eBay.
Yeah, and so Red Panda, it's going to not blow any of those knockoffs out of the water because we did evaluate thousands and thousands and thousands of red Makawa seedlings to select the very best one, the one that had the best red color and held it the longest. And so Red Pandas really went through that evaluation process. And to get a Red Panda, you got to get it through MrMaple.com.
Yeah, guys, these will be coming to Mr. Maple in numbers. So these are our top 5 Makawa Yatsubusa family members coming in 2025. I think you could expect better numbers on each of these. That's not saying they're going to be easy to get. Now, granted, when we drop something, people hold me to every word I say, so I have to be careful. When we drop something, I still expect some of these to sell out in 1 to 2 minutes on 10 at 10. So be prepared, be ready. The numbers are greatly increased, and they're also returning more frequently. So we'll be able to have backup sets. If we launch this in April, we'll be able to have backup sets in June, hopefully in September. So we're going to continue that production level and keep hitting you with sets of these as they become available and they're ready and mature enough to be in our production of listing schedule. So these are all things that we're working on building extremely good numbers on. And I think that we'll be able to exceed our previous year's demand. So I think that the demand still outweighs the numbers. That's not decreasing here because these are still highly sought after. So they're still going to be tricky to get because you have to be ready. But I think we've been able to increase demand to meet that a lot.
Yeah, we're working hard on these Makawa types to make them available on MrMaple.com, just nonstop. And that's our goal, to make these trees easy for you to get. We've worked hard to collect them, and we're trying to make it easier for you to be able to get them from Mr. Maple.
I think I said it reverse. We're trying to increase production to meet demand. We're not trying to increase demand. That's already bad enough. We've got the demand. So people hang on every word. They'll be like, he said he was going to increase demand. No, we're going to try to get these to you as easily as possible. We really appreciate you tuning in to the Mr. Maple Show. If you like Japanese maples, make sure to like this channel, like this video. If you love Japanese maples, hey, share this video with some garden friends. We really appreciate it.
Take care.
God bless you.
And have a great day.